Welcome to Alpha Coding Podcast, an all-access pass to medical coding and billing pro tips that help you start your week off smarter. And now, here is your host, Toni Elhoms.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alpha Coding Podcast series. I am your host, Toni Elhoms. Welcome to episode 20 of the podcast. Today is May 18th, and I'm excited to be recording episode 20. It's a pretty great feeling. I know when I first started out on this journey, I wasn't exactly sure what to expect and how many people would listen to the podcast. So it's been a huge hit and a major success in the podcasting world. So shout out to all of my listeners and all of the people that have supported me on this journey. I really appreciate your support. And I could just imagine what this is going to feel like when we get to episode 100, episode 500. It's going to be incredible. We're just getting started. So our topic for today is going to focus on my top pro tips for living life in alignment with your why. This is really fundamental to living a life of purpose and passion. So before we dive into our topic, it's time for your Monday dose of positivity, the Mindset Monday tip. And it's brought to you by Project Resume. When is the last time you had your resume updated? Your resume is literally your entry ticket to that next great opportunity. Project Resume will design a customized ATS-friendly resume to demonstrate your unique skills and experience. And even better, it's written by coders for coders. Make that investment in yourself today and visit projectresume.net and mention my code ALPHACODING for special pricing. So our Mindset Monday tip is all about having a no excuses mindset. And the quote I want to share with you says, "This no excuses mindset will eliminate any excuse and illuminate all possibilities. In the end, you will be liberated from fear and enthusiastically embrace a new form of living that will carry you on to your goals." And this quote pretty much sums up in the best terms the power of this no excuses mindset. And when I shifted my mindset, that's when I really started to see explosive growth and tapped into people and possibilities that have truly propelled me to success as an entrepreneur. But it takes a lot of intention and hard work to get there. So this no excuses mindset is really important to have. And I hope that brings you some positivity. So today we're going to cover my top pro tips for living in alignment with your why. And a lot of people ask me, how can I be you? How can I do what you do? How can I become a successful coding entrepreneur? And just to give you some context, this profession does not have a large percentage of entrepreneurs or self-employed individuals. The majority of people in the coding and billing profession are employed by hospitals or physician practices or insurance companies. So out of approximately 200,000 coding professionals, less than 1% are independent. And when I say independent, I mean self-employed or a business owner. And I share these numbers with you because I think it helps provide additional context and really a baseline for what the profession is in terms of ratio of business owners to employed coding professionals. So I want to share some tips with you that are going to help you zero in on finding your why and why your why is so important. Whether you're an employee, a leader of a team, a manager, a supervisor, or you're looking to find clarity on that next move, regardless of where you're at in your journey, finding and identifying your why and then living according to your why is the one constant that is going to guide you into really living a life that is fulfilling and purposeful. So pro tip number 1, always start with why. If you haven't read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, it's a great book. It talks about all of the different companies and how some are successful and some are not successful. And it all goes back to starting with why. So what does this mean? Basically, what gets you out of bed every single day? Why do you do the things that you do? What's your driving force, your motivation? And I think that you're going to have a personal why and a professional why. And you need to get really clear about both of these because they fuel each other and they do so in tandem if you're very clear and intentional about your why. So always start with why. For me, personally, I have a goal to build a legacy for my family, to show my children that through action and through hard work, you can achieve anything. You can start your own business. You can create jobs and opportunities for other people. And so that's really my personal why, my personal driving force. My professional driving force, my professional why comes back to my love for teaching and helping others. When I first got started in the industry, I didn't have that mentor. I didn't have that person that just kind of pulled it all together and connected the dots. And so I want to be that person to other people. And it really, there's nothing more exciting and fulfilling to me than seeing someone tap into their potential, into that potential that they didn't even realize existed. So those are the two really fundamental whys behind everything that I do. And identifying your why is deeply personal. It's not an answer that you're going to come to overnight. It's not something that you just kind of think about for 5 minutes and you have an answer. You have to really ponder and deconstruct every area of your life, every component of your life. This requires a lot of self-reflection because through this process, you identify all of the reasons why you have made the decisions that you've made and all of the choices in your life, like your career and how you raise your children. Everything comes back to a fundamental why. And so identifying the why, starting with the why, is really systemic. It affects everything in your life. So you're going to see a lot of powerful things happen when you start with why. And your why is going to be different than someone else's why. And so you don't want to compare your why or what you want to do or what you want to achieve to other people. That's where I think a lot of people get derailed because they play the comparison game. And that is a losing game. So you want to really think about what is your why and then what do you want to achieve? So do you want to be a production-based coding professional? Do you want to be in leadership? Do you want to be a coding entrepreneur? Do you want to be an influencer? Whatever it is, there's no right or wrong answer. This is deeply personal. So once you zero in on that why, then you're going to find your purpose. And that purpose is going to turn into passion. And that passion is going to set you apart from the rest. The passion is what people feel, the energy that they feel from you when you do what you do. So always start with why. Pro tip number 2, your vision should be as clear as a roadmap. So once you identify your why, then you'll need to design a really clear roadmap on how you're going to get there. Know where you're going, which direction you're going. You're not going to be able to put all of the pieces together, but you'll have a very clear vision on where you're going. And if that vision is to be in leadership or to be an entrepreneur, that requires followers. So in order to be a successful leader, you have to have followers. And the leader has to communicate succinctly the vision. We have to be able to articulate this in the simplest terms so that other people can understand it and that they know where you're going so they can help you achieve your goal or your mission. So being able to articulate this in the simplest of terms is absolutely fundamental. Pro tip number 3, get laser focused. So this is where I see a lot of folks get derailed. So you cannot listen to people that have never been where you're going. If that's your family, if that's your friends, if that's your boss, your employees, whoever it may be, you have to get laser focused on your goal and whatever your vision is for the future and not take direction or advice from people that have no idea how to get where you're going. So get laser focused, be intentional every single day about getting to that destination. And I know a lot of people that have ultimate goals to be entrepreneurs. They want to be business owners, but their circumstances right now today don't allow for that. Maybe they need health insurance or they need a certain benefits package because of their situation at home. And so they have to think about what do they need to do today to survive, but never take your eye off of the big picture, the bigger goal. Being laser focused is critical. So you have to care less about people's opinions and more about your goals. And you will have haters. You will have doubters. That's just part of the journey. That's part of the process. The haters and the naysayers, they're inevitable, but you don't get wrapped up in that. You don't listen to that negativity because you're laser focused and you have that roadmap. You know what your vision is and you know that you have what it takes to achieve that vision. So pro tip number 4, your energy has power. So I'm a big believer in energy psychology. I've spent a lot of time studying it. Dr. Bruce Lipton is really the pioneer of this school of thought. And the idea is that the energy psychology addresses the relationship of energy in relation to emotions, cognition, behavior, and health. And just like a computer hard drive or an audio tape contains specific information in regards to the electromagnetic fields, our brain and our body operate in the same way. So they're really electromagnetic fields. And so our energy can be programmed. It can be changed. So if your mindset is not geared for positivity, it's not geared for positive thinking, you're going to have a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of self-doubt. The good news is through energy psychology, you can retrain your subconscious mind and the way that you think every single day into something that's positive and that can actually elevate and propel you in major ways. So one of the things that I do, one of the techniques that I use is daily affirmations. And through this, I affirm the energy psychology principles, and that really has helped reprogram my mindset so that I can achieve all of these big goals and dreams that I have. When I talk about this to the majority of people, they think I'm crazy because they're like, okay, what? You can actually reprogram your mind and gear it for success? Yes, but it takes a lot of intention and a lot of hard work. Energy psychology is unbelievable. If you are interested, I highly encourage you to do your research. So your energy has power. Pro tip number 5, pivot as your why evolves. So as you grow and as you change and navigate through all of the seasons of life, your why is going to change. Your why is going to evolve. And so you're also going to gain a deeper understanding of your purpose than what you were originally aware of when you sought out on this journey. So as your life changes, your why will evolve and change, and you want to make sure that you're pivoting based on that. So for me, my why prior to having children was a lot different than the why after I have my kids, because everything about your life changes when you become a parent. You're now responsible for another human being's life. So just know that you'll need to make pivots, and that's part of the process. So just to summarize my top pro tips for living in alignment with your why. Number 1, always start with why. Number 2, your vision should be as clear as a roadmap. Number 3, get laser focused. Number 4, your energy has power. Number 5, pivot as your why evolves. So it's time for this week's coding pro tip, and it's brought to you by Clara. Clara is a holistic, secure communication platform that specializes in telehealth and telemedicine. Take your practice virtual in a matter of minutes. Mention my code Alpha Coding for 10% off. Visit Clara.com for more information. If you have a coding related question and would like it to be featured in one of our coding pro tips, please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. So this week's coding pro tip comes to us from Michigan. Hi, Toni. We're seeing a lot of denials with Place of Service 2 for our telehealth services. I thought that this was the designated place of service code for audio video services, and our billing service is saying we cannot use place of service 11 since the providers are not rendering telehealth in the office. Can you please help? Absolutely. So you are not alone in this confusion. So the rules have changed significantly in the last 12 weeks. We've seen change after change, and this has happened sometimes on a daily basis. So the original guidance was to utilize Place of Service 2 for telehealth encounters, those encounters that met the definition of telehealth, utilizing interactive audio video communication. Well, throughout the pandemic, we've seen change after change after change. So the official guidance as of now is that for Medicare, they want you to use the Place of Service where the service would have been reported had the provider seen the patient in person. So that may be Place of Service 11, 21, 22, wherever that service would have been rendered. And I can understand why this seems confusing because it's completely contradictory from the initial guidance. Please hang in there. Know that you are not alone, and every insurance company has their own guidelines and their own rules about telehealth and telemedicine. So it's a mixed bag. Please remember to hit that subscribe button now so you never miss another episode. Also, be sure to drop us a rating and review on iTunes. We really appreciate your support. So this concludes today's episode. Until next week, thank you for listening to Alpha Coding Podcast. We'll see you next Monday.
For more information about medical coding and billing pro tips, including how to hire alpha coding experts, follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or visit our website at www.alphacodingexperts.com.